Notts County Talk, welcome back to another episode of the Pavis Perspective. It is episode 168. It's the Barrow preview. Last week, you'll know I wasn't here. It was George and Jordan. The week before George wasn't here, it was me and Ben. So it feels like we've been reunited, George. It's amazing, isn't it? What an amazing feeling.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a Spice Girls song about it.
Yeah, there must be. But I was watching. If you're watching last week, you might have seen our comment. I listened to last week's show. And Danny that you had on, Salford fan, superb.
Great. He's always good, isn't he? He is always
good. That's like the fifth or sixth time he's been on. He's been on monthly meetups and everything. We do have a Barrow fan this evening as well, which is great news as well. So that takes us 3 for 3. So we'll be chatting to him a little bit later on in the show. Loads to talk about. Obviously, we've got the Wigan Cup tie that was a couple of days ago. We've got the Salford home game. I didn't see the Salford home game. You obviously did watch it. You did a reaction to that video. Which is obviously a really, really disappointing start to the home campaign. Loads to talk about. We've got a player anagram today, which is log sanding. We might have already had this player, but I think that's fairly easy to get, in my opinion. So I think you should be able to get that. And the poll question, have you got that up to George today? It's a great one. It's absolutely superb. And I've got a very strong opinion on it. Very, very strong opinion.
I always like when you've got a strong opinion. Right then, I've got it. Dream scenario to beat your rivals, 5-0 thumping, last minute winner, 2-0 down and end up winning 3-2, or shocking own goal from their player.
Do you have a strong opinion on that? I mean, it's nice to beat your rivals. I put rivals. Yeah. Imagine this is beating Forest, Chesterfield, Mansfield, any of those. I've got my vote in. Very, very. I knew it straight away. The best way to beat your rivals. And as always, we are powered by BetterBats Computers. Use the code Pavis Perspective, and you'll get a discount off refurbished computers or computer repairs. Fantastic Notts fan-run business in Mapping, Nottingham. And if you're listening back on Spotify, drop us that 5-star review. Let's see who we've got with us this evening before we kick off the show. We've got David, Richard, Ian, Jane, Helen, who is a channel member, says we need a win by several goals. We've got Karen, Stephen, Ken, Pythagorean. We've got Adam, who's a channel member. Still worried after a poor home performance v Salford and in the cup against Wigan. Nothing to be ashamed of. Hopefully players will gel and start seeing results. Rich, Rob, Ian, Gaza, loads of you here this evening. Nigel, who's a channel member. Jody will be sold in January if owners' current form of selling our best players continues. Let's not hope for that. We'll talk about Jody's performances as well. And we're going to get right into it. Salford. How was it? Because you saw the whole game. I was away. I've seen the highlights and watched some extended bits back. But how was it?
It wasn't the best. We had moments in the game, very few. But it was just it was very similar to what we've seen before against Salford. I think where we've struggled to. We almost played into the hands a little bit. I was impressed by. I felt like physically we sort of stood up to them a lot better than we would have done previously in previous seasons. So that's maybe one positive you can take from it. But it looked very disjointed. It looked like a team that hadn't played together before. Which they haven't much, but neither have Salford, and they looked fairly unified. So disappointing. It just. I think I said it in my video as well. It's like you're trailing. We scored about 20, 25 minutes ago, and I don't think we had another attempt on goal after that, which is just it's testament to Salford in some respects, but I think it's poor from us. You're just sort of waiting for it to click a little bit. And look, we're 3 games in. We've had a pre-season, which it doesn't mean loads, does it? But we've had a pre-season to get used to each other, and it just looks like they're not used to it at all. I was disappointed, to be honest with you, because I thought we started the game okay. I thought we did. I thought we started the game okay. I thought like the first 15, 20 minutes, I was thinking we're standing up to these physically, and that's something that we've struggled with. So I thought that we'd do all right against them, but I was so wrong. But the goals we concede are just ridiculous. They are ridiculous. I think.
I heard someone say the second isn't Roos's fault. It is, isn't it?
Though. It just is. It's like,
isn't it?
Look, I know the receiver could probably come to the ball and run to it a bit quicker, But why put yourself under that much pressure? I said, just put your laces through it. In that position when they were pressing us, and it wasn't the only player that was being pressed. Everyone else was covered by a Salford player. So passing it out to him anyway, you're making the second pass from that difficult. Just put your laces through it. Just go along if you have to. Do you know what I mean? And then the first goal is from a set piece again, which is again frustrating. I'm hoping that's not going to be sort of the story of the season again, because we've had that so many times.
The opening goal.
The frustrating thing is it's avoidable, and I think we started the game okay. But then obviously when you're not going to remember good spells of performances, are you, in a game that you ultimately lose? And like I said, in that last 20 minutes, I feel like we should have and could have done more to get a goal to at least try and rescue a point.
The first goal was really, really poor. Like from the marking perspective, it's basics in football, isn't it? You can't let a player build up a head of steam running into the box for a header, because that increases their chance of scoring no end, because they get so much power behind the ball. And yeah, so it's a really, really powerful header, but it's also straight down the middle of the goal.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if Roos almost stands still, by diving, he moves his body to the side. Like, it's poor. It's poor from us defensively and everything. Gaza says, in fairness to Roos, he can't just lace it as there's no target man. I agree we don't have an outlet there, but at the same time, I'd rather not concede and just lose the ball further up the pitch. And I know that's probably not going to be what Patterson wants, and he'll probably be going mad. But if I was a manager, which I'm not, thank goodness, I'd be saying to my players, look, you play the way I want until you, as a professional, I'll be saying I trust you as a professional to know when a situation is becoming, a difficult one or a bad one. If I want you to play out and there's no options, just get rid of it. So, yeah, do you think George says, and it's a pattern that has been building for a long time, that we just get done by experienced managers? Carl Robinson's done us. Completely done us again. Last season, Maynard, we spoke about it, was done by every manager that sort of had a little bit about them. Even to not as much to an extent, Williams didn't really get caught out that much, but there were still examples of it. Does that concern you? Because the model we go down is young coaches that are inexperienced, and we get found out a lot of the time.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the thing that's strange, I think, is just the way that we've approached this season. It's just it feels like very different to any season that we've approached for. Obviously, there's been mass changes in terms of staffing and the way things are being controlled. Yeah, but it just seemed like I'm not blaming him. It's not his fault, but it just seemed like a bit of a bizarre appointment. Some of the players that we're bringing in, it's just to say that we've sold the amount of players that we've sold. I'm thinking Maka, Crowley, now Bass. You'd think that we'd be recruiting. Look, there's time left in the window. I'm sure we're on the hunt for somebody, but for the squad that we have so far, I think Patterson's job's been made quite difficult. Even though we do have some, individually good players, none of those are proven either, are they? Do you know what I mean?
No.
That's something that we've spoken about, and we have recruited one or two that have sort of experience, but we've recruited a lot that don't as well. So I think there's also, you talk about like the inexperience of the manager aspect. There's also that inexperience of the player aspect as well. Now I think you've got to look at, because we're also bringing in youth players that haven't played like a lot of men's football, if any. Do you know what I mean? So that can be a huge adjustment.
Yeah, I agree. The recruitment hasn't helped Patterson, and look, the way it all went down when Patterson was appointed, he needed to hit the ground running, and yeah, look, he's not got off to the best of starts, has he? Even before a ball was kicked, some people were like, absolutely no way. I tried to give the benefit of the doubt, and I'm still giving the benefit of the doubt. Look, we're 3 games into the season. Let's be honest. We've drawn one, which on another day we're 3 up at half time, and we have soundly lost one. And on another day, we could potentially have knocked Wigan out of the cup. So I don't think there's any room yet for anyone to be completely in a panic about it, because I don't think we need to be in a panic. But I've also said this on the channel before. I really don't, as much as I think people that are like, toxic's a too strong word. You know, the people that are always negative and will look for negatives in even a win. Like that's harmful because there's no positivity there. But also people that are just completely positive all the time and say, don't worry about it, we're only 3 games in. That's also not very helpful because there clearly are problems. Like loads of teams have got problems at the start of the season. Like you said, we're not fully gelled, and other teams haven't fully gelled, fine. But just being completely positive and naive is also not good. There are clearly issues here. Our best player, Jody Jones, receives the ball with his back to the opponent's goal at the halfway line most of the time. We can't score. You know, we scored 2 goals. One was a penalty. We've got issues with the goalkeeping department, and there just is. So there are definite issues, but I think it's about being balanced. If we're still talking about this in 3 weeks' time, 4 weeks' time, then there's really a lot of concern.
I am concerned, to be honest with you. I do agree with you. I think it's early days, and a lot of things can change and things can sort of click into place. But I think we need a striker. Even with Jata, you know, there's a lot of talk, isn't there, still about Jata moving on and stuff like that. If Jata moves on, I think we need to bring in 2 strikers, to be honest. But we need to bring in another one. And Patterson's talked about that, so that's good. It's good that we're being active in the market. But you're just left wondering who's it going to be. But my concern is that so many times in the last few years, under the same sort of ideas and ownership, because that is what it boils down to. I think a lot of the implementation of the way we play and how we recruit is the way that we want to play from the ownership. It's just leaving us short in games, isn't it? And it's happened all too many times where you feel like, oh, we should have got something from that game. We didn't, and that for me is a concern. Like you said, you know, the goals we've conceded in the league have all been very avoidable, but we haven't avoided them. That's the problem. Obviously, that is the problem. But it's about there's an element of how many times you have to go over something to coach it out of a player. Do you know what I mean? Like to switch on in certain moments. But yeah, I'm just concerned that we don't become that team that's, you know, they play well and they have good moments, but they just don't get it over the line because as it stands, I know we're 3 games in. I'm not getting carried away. That's sort of what we've been doing, and it's a slippery slope to go down. That is when you don't get over the line, and we're not creating, you know, great chances, are we? We're not.
No, I know you've watched both games.
The first Newport was really good, and I was really pleased with that. And I'm trying not to be too negative, but I find it hard to be so positive with the start that we've had. Do you know what I mean? I know that players and coaches will say, look, we take a lot. We've had a lot of positive moments, and so we say that as well. But when you're not winning games, I know we're only 3 in. I'm not being too negative here. You know, it's going to creep up on us, I think, because look, Patterson himself judged me after, was it 5 to 10 games? 1 point or a draw from your first 3 games. It's not good.
Yeah. And I said earlier, but we could easily beat Wigan and we could have been 3 up. But that's exactly what I said for 46 games last season under Maynard, which is a little bit concerning. Put anything in the chat that any questions you've got for us, any thoughts you've got. I'm reading them as we're going on with the show as well, so it's interesting to know your thoughts. The thing that just seems a bit odd to me, and we've talked about recruitment, is I don't feel like there's a plan. I don't feel like there's a massive plan because we've loaned 5 players in, I believe, so far. Last season, we loaned in George Abbott, who was sensational. And then we loaned in Giovanni Brown, who barely touched the ball, and Zach Johnson, who didn't really touch the ball. So we've gone from completely like only recruiting when we desperately needed to on loan or getting a fantastic player in. Like Giovanni Brown was a desperate moment, and so was Zach Johnson. So 5 players that all 5 could be starting players. It's just it's a massive shift in one season. Do you know what I mean? You know, if that had been like this season, we got a couple of loans in, and then 4, and then 5. It's a massive shift in one season, and I don't like that.
We spoke about this earlier in the week, didn't we, me and you? Because I feel like we've built up quite a good reputation of being a good club to send your loan players to. I mean, obviously, I'm probably going to have a bit of bias to that, but George Abbott is the prime example, I think. You look at what he achieved at Notts, and he's gone on to get an extension now with Tottenham. He's now on loan at Wickham in League One, which is great. I just hope we're not using sort of that power that we've sort of gained, you know, that the relationships that we've built with other clubs too much this season to sort of cover, I don't know, just not spending. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what it looks like to me. I'm left feeling, to be honest with you, at this moment in time, that we need to be bringing in like a really, really good, really good forward. That's
the problem is, and I'll chat about this because Ronan, our Barrow fan, has joined us, so I'm going to get him in 30 seconds. What I want to talk about, George, is you're saying we need to bring players in. I've said we need to bring at least another striker in. We haven't seen the likes of Jarvis. We haven't seen Nick Saru. We haven't seen Lucas Ness. The squad's already massively bloated, in my opinion. And that's an issue. Like, we talk about not gelling. We actually haven't integrated Nick Saru or Jarvis or Ness very much at all. So then they come in as almost new signings because they've not played under Patterson, really. You've still got to integrate Tyrese Hall, who's barely kicked the ball for us. People saying he didn't look very good on Tuesday. Well, he's just joined us and he played 15 minutes against the League One side. Interesting, but I think the squad's huge. Right, we're going to get Ronan in. If you've got any questions for him, put them in the chat and we'll try and put them across. Ronan, how are you doing?
Evening, is all right?
Yeah, good, thanks. Thanks for joining us. We'll kick it off. You might have just caught us for sort of 2 or 3 minutes there while you were waiting. We're not in the best place right now as Notts fans. You know, we finished in the playoff semi-final last year, but we've lost David McGoldrick, George Abbott, Alex Bass has gone, and we've got a manager that every other team thinks is a ridiculous appointment, and we've not won yet. How's it going with Barrow?
Not too dissimilar, really, in terms of a massive overhaul again for us this year. Not sort of the case of the manager that we don't know thinks an interesting appointment. I won't say good or bad, but winless to start the season. So, but I suppose we're in a slightly different boat than yourselves, where we've played basically the 2 favourites to be promoted in Chesterfield and MK Dons. Chesterfield we went pretty much toe to toe with, and 1 goal decided it, and a deflection at that. MK Dons where we were pretty rubbish at home, to be honest, and then Preston midweek where we were beaten by a ridiculous Clement's own goal. So although on paper it looks awful, it's not an awful place to be with each. Which the performance of Preston was a good performance. I think you can see signs of, you know, our season probably starts Saturday if you take away what were effectively bonus points from the first 2 games against a team that's spending absolutely absurd amount of money. And a Chesterfield side that have got a really, really good manager, a really good team, and are on a pretty much upward trajectory.
Yeah, I mean, it couldn't have got a more difficult start to the season, really. We actually play Chesterfield and MK Dons back-to-back as well. We play them on Boxing Day and then the 29th, which they'll probably be in full flow then, so it'll be just as difficult for us. What were your pre-season hopes for Barrow? Ours for Notts were very, very mixed. Some fans thinking we could get automatic, some thinking we could be down in 17th, 18th. So it's very like, it's an unknown for us. But what about for yourselves?
I think the general expectation is when we've had such a large turnover, I think we only had 10 players contracted at the start of this, at the end of, in the last season, start of this season. So it was always going to be a massive sort of overall of the entire squad. So I think there was a sort of trepidation, really. We knew we had a good manager in charge, Andy Wynn. We ended the season strongly, where we weren't conceding many, but we were picking up quite a lot of draws. And however, we were on pretty much playoff form from when Andy Wynn came through the door. So it was sort of a bit of the unknown, really, which is always sort of the case with Barrow because we've had a very large turnover in managers since we've come back into the league. And that's made it sort of difficult to tell, really. We've sort of recruited okay, shrewdly in areas. We've recruited within our budget, which is obviously a very overarching statement to sort of make. But when you look at sort of the signings we've made, where we brought in players like Tyler Walker, Jack Earing, players like that, players that have been historically, injured and had to come in and really, if they come good, it's seen as genius signing. If they don't, it's like, well, you signed another crock. So my honest prediction was if we finished in that sort of 12th place, which would be an improvement on last season, and I know it's extremely boring to say, and get players tied down, go with 15, 16 for next season, then we're in a position to challenge him. What's a manager that's only had 6 months with a team that isn't been his, and then he's had 1 full season with his team. So I think anywhere in that sort of mid-table pack would be really happy with. If we could finish top half, I'd be delighted. That doesn't seem to be the expectation of everybody. And some think we'll finish near the bottom, mainly not Barrow fans, may I add, and others in our sort of local circles think we'll finish higher up. But I think mid-table is the absolute honesty in this league with some of the money teams are spending and being relative to who and what we are in terms of size of club.
So talked about signings a minute ago. What do you make, or what did you make to Notts' former promotion-winning captain Kyle Cameron when he came on loan last season?
He'd be a fantastic player in the conference, and that's his level. And I don't think that's being really unfair. He was just very mistake prone. Bottom end League 2, top end National League player, and nothing awful as such. Just not really my sort of centre half. Came in as a ball playing centre half, but can't pass the ball 110 yards. So it was one of them. But again, wasn't awful. Just someone. If you're going to take that next step into the top end of League 2, I'm talking top 10. Probably not quite good enough to make that level, make that step up for me. But I was surprised to see him stay in the league, if I'm really honest. But a player that wasn't, absolutely horrendous by any stretch of imagination, but not brilliant either at the same time.
I'll probably agree. It was outstanding for us in the National League season when we got promoted. Unreal captain as well. Like, really was a great captain, but just when we got into League 2, he didn't help with the defence he had with him. But very, very interesting. Got a question for you. It's quite a nice one, a little bit off topic. So it's a question for the Barrow fan. What have you got a favourite or a best away day and a worst away day in this league?
Bloody hell. I really enjoyed Chesterfield as the first one for this year. I think that was a really good play. I hadn't been for 6 years to back in the conference. So one that I enjoyed quite a lot. I think we've lost some really good away days, to be honest. An underrated one as a genuine day out is Gillingham. If you go into, I can't remember what the town's called, nearby, a really good spot. And Harrogate, if you go to Knaresborough, a great day out. I think I can tell you some of the worst ones if you want. There's plenty of them, but Milton Keynes ended up being an underrated day out. We went into Bletchley, which is just outside Milton Keynes. That was really good. Historically, Salford's absolutely bobbins if you don't get it at a good time of year, because you either go to Manchester and have a great day, or you have an absolutely shocking day. I'm quite fortunate where I've done 21 of the 24. There's only 3 that I haven't done. Barnet probably ranks as one of the worst days out you could possibly do. Tranmere, I've been to, I think, something like that, like 11 times, and never really have a good day out there. But I think most of the ones in this league are genuinely okay. But I have forgot the absolute worst of them all, which is Colchester. There's just no redeeming qualities at all. And it's our longest one.
Yeah, Colchester. I've seen us go there twice, and we lost both times. One we conceded 5, I think. Yeah. I quite like Fleetwood. I'll be honest. I think that's a decent
good day out if you do Blackpool. It's a really good day out. I think the only thing that's offered the Colchester day out was the fact we won 4-1 and our centre half scored a hat-trick, so that made it out for a good day. Fleetwood was a good day out if you did a Blackpool sort of weekend there. The one I'm looking forward to most, and apparently it's a really good day out, is Cambridge, so that'll be good to a new one for me I've not done before.
Yeah,
Nottingham's a great night out, a great day drink as well, to be honest, so you're blessed for sort of good pubs in that region.
Yeah, a lot of away fans mention going away to Notts. But I haven't done Cambridge either, so look forward to that. Do you think, from my perspective, I absolutely hate playing Barrow. I kind of feel like you've got our number, and I know George does. It stemmed from the COVID season. You beat us 3-0 at our place, and one of your, I don't know who the player was, went in front of our cop and was just giving it large, celebrating in front of our fans. I've not seen Notts be bullied at Meadow Lane like that for a long time. You kind of feel like you've got our number. I think we've beaten you once in 6 meetings.
In a sense, our last game before COVID and it was yourselves, which was that 2-0 loss at home. We lost Scott Quigley, who got sent off for what was effectively GBH and a court keeper, if we're being really honest. I like Notts County's day out. I think with a side like Barrow, and I'm not self-deprecating at all, we're quite happy to go to certain teams that, and I'm not trying to insult Naiad, that think and Notts County are a big club, but these so-called big clubs, and just upset them and just be hard to beat, difficult to beat, and really, really get under teams and fans' skin, because people think that the minute Barrow turn up at their ground, they're going to just immediately walk through them, which never tends to be the case, because we're always a well-drilled, well-disciplined, hard to beat side. So I think that 3-0 lives massively fondly in my memory, obviously, because we'd just gone top of the league for the first time that season, and we pretty much stayed there. But we did stay there for the rest of the season until COVID curtailed the season. So I really, really enjoyed the day out to Notts County. I also enjoyed the discourse that sort of followed the end of the COVID season with who would win the league and who wouldn't. Apparently,
would have caught you.
You would have, but you only had the other 6 months of the season to catch us, and you never got quite there. Either. It was one of them.
I think the 2-0 win at your place was the only time we've tried to not win a football match. We put our B team out. You missed a penalty. I remember it fondly. And we were giving it to, I think it was Rooney, came over to the away end, and we were really giving him pelters. But yeah, like that away day, we were definitely not supposed to win that game. And that was our last away game before the season ended, I think, because we played.
Yeah, it was the last game, I think. Unless we might have played someone midweek, but I can't.
We played one more. I think we played Eastleigh at home.
Eastleigh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And yeah, the game at Med Lane ended up being the highest attended football match in the whole of Europe, because everyone else had ended their seasons because of COVID. So interesting. Got a question for you here in the chat. Who do you really want Barrow to beat this season?
Well, we've lost our derbies with Carlisle and Markham going down, although hopefully that Markham and from a genuine place of wanting to keep rival games and stuff like that, I hope Markham do find a buyer, and that is a serious note. Although it seems like it's slightly more positive, but I wouldn't believe Jason Whittingham at all. There's no real preference. We haven't got any. We've lost our derby game, so it's really, really sort of trivial for me to say. I've got some good friends that come and watch Accrington Stanley, so I always hope we win there. And that's about it for me. I'd quite like to beat Aki. Always Harrogate. I have no time at all for Simon Weaver, if I'm being really, really honest. And that's about it. I'd love to beat Aki. I'd love to beat Harrogate, but we've lost our local games. We've lost our derbies in theory. So Walsall, for various reasons, also a game that I always enjoy going to. A team that would be.
George, who do you really want to beat aside from Chesterfield?
Ooh,
I'm going to go Walsall again after what happened last season.
Yeah, Walsall definitely there. To be honest with you, I'd like in the reverse fixture, I'd like to do Salford.
Yeah,
I'd like to beat Salford.
Yeah, we can't beat Salford. I think we've lost 4 times in a row to them.
Yeah, we've got a horrendous record against Salford. For me, being a Barrow fan, it's always beating teams that, a bit like yourselves, these so-called big teams that sort of think that they sort of order win because they're playing Barrow, but will happily come and ruin the days. And that's the best days out you ever watching Barrow football, where we genuinely go and ruin people's days.
Yeah, I can't believe I've forgotten this. Crew. I want to absolutely hammer Crew.
Oh, 28 quid a ticket, so do I.
Yeah. £28, you can't see half the pitch. And the last 2 times we've been, we've had like very late penalties that were both dubious given against us to beat us. I go to the games sometimes with my father, and always says never going to Crew again after the last 2 games. But we'll see. Last couple of questions running before we let you go. As Notts fans going to the game or watching the game, who should we look out for on your side? Maybe a name, a new signing, or someone that goes under the radar a bit?
I think it's difficult for us at the moment because we've got a lot of what are sort of niggles and knocks, really. So it's difficult to say. We're a new side sort of bedding in. For me, the one that should really impress is Tom Barker, who seems like a really, really shrewd signing for this level. He's in his drips and drabs that he's played has looked really, really impressive, and a really good footballer. We're at that. We only had 16 fit players for Tuesday night, which is really shocking for the start of the season. A hell of a lot of injuries. In between the sticks, Will Stanley's a goalkeeper that only started playing football in net 5 years ago. For a local team that literally is down the hill from me. There's now a goalkeeper in League Two.
Wow.
And go on to do a hell of a lot better than that. So I think another good player who often does a good job between the sticks. So I think they're you two really, Stanley and Pavis.
Yeah, fair enough. And finally, score prediction for Saturday.
Our season starts on Saturday, like I said earlier. We were in bonus points territory at the start of the season. We haven't scored yet this season, which is always an enjoyable start. We haven't had a shot on target in the league, which is another good start here. So we're pretty much nailed on for a 0-0 really. So I'll go 2-0 Barrow and just completely lost it, and hopefully our season starts here, because two sides have had really, really difficult starts to the season. Not necessarily in terms of fixtures, just in terms of results. And I think there's an opportunity here for both of us to sort of kickstart and get going. We play Harrogate straight after this, so two ideal games. If you go in there, you'd be hoping you've got Harrogate with confidence and can get something there as well.
Yeah, we've got home games against Shrewsbury and Bromley straight after. So, yeah, there's massive, massive pressure on us from our fan base. We had to get off to a good start, obviously appointing Martin Patterson. So, yeah, I think if you get an early goal or rough us up again, it'll be interesting to see how we handle it. But we really appreciate you joining us on this episode. So thanks a lot, and enjoy the game on Saturday.
Cheers, gents. All the best, apart from obviously the weekend. But thank you very much.
Cheers. Thanks. 3 for 3 on fans this season. We're doing well. Are we going to get the full quota of opposition fans? We've got Bromley next week, so it'll be a Bromley preview. So, we should be able to get a Bromley fan. Sure, don't we, when we get to the Accrington stages. Crawley, but we might be able to. We'll
get some working now. We'll get some working. Nice
we'll have to get it. Yeah. If anyone knows, Crawley's near the end of September. Get them some messages. We've got some connections, but we don't have the Barnet connection. We don't have the Cambridge connection. Oldham, we need to get them in, don't we? To get them penciled in. So jumping back to what we were saying before we got Ronan on, the squad feels quite big, doesn't it? Already.
Yeah.
We've got 15 days to trim it down. There doesn't seem to be any signs of movement, and there's something we don't always like to talk about. But who do you think has to be gone from the squad, or at least just not involved? Because right now, I can name 3 or 4 players that I think they just aren't up to it, really. I think.
Yeah, no, I think I know what you mean. It's an odd one as well, isn't it? Because there's players that I believe should be in the squad that aren't. One of the main ones, obviously, Jarvis. I think he has the ability to change a game. I think he will run at players. In saying that, I suppose you could say Bennett brings that to Notts at the minute. I can't see why he's not on the bench. I think he could replace players that are on the bench that I feel like you say, we could probably ship off. But I think the number is it 12 or 13 midfielders have got now.
Yeah,
we need to get some of them out on loan. I think
we do. I think Hinchy we need to get Hinchy out on loan, because I think I get kind of Ed Francis vibes with Hinchy. I think he could be good. And
that's a really good that's a good analogy. That is. I think you're right with that.
I think we need to loan him out. And if you could get Hinchy playing like a 35 game season, 40 game season, I think you could be all right. I think I really like him as a player, Lucas Ness, but I don't know how many minutes you're going to get out of him. I don't know. He came back for a little bit in pre-season, didn't he? And then he's injured again. Yeah. Traore is an anomaly. I mean, we paid serious money for him for a League Two club. It has to be used. And Edwards, I think, surplus to requirements. 2-year deal was ridiculous. I think criminal.
It's such an odd one though, that is, because can you remember his first sort of time with his first sort of time playing in the league for Notts before he got injured? He was class.
He was.
Like, he looked like a really good signing, really bright player, really highly talked about from was it Woking he was at before he came to Notts?
Yeah, it was. They loved him.
Yeah, and he started his time at Notts really well, but after he came back from that injury, it just, I don't know, just strained, wasn't he? He wasn't half the player he was before.
Pythagoras says, "Do we accept that the Traore fee is a write-off?" That'd be a disaster in a side that's clearly so heavily, or a football club that's so heavily invested in sustainability. I don't think that you can't afford it to be a write-off. It would be. Look, we're not talking millions of pounds here, are we? But that money could have gone on to a really, really good, or be put towards a really, really good signing, and it's just not materialised as anything. And am I being honest? Have I seen enough from Traore to think that there is a player in there that could play at League 2 level for Notts? If I'm being completely honest, no. That could change. I know Julius put his injured. Yeah, he is. That could change, and he could score 10, 15 goals for us this season. But based on what I've seen so far, got a player that I haven't seen enough from. Like the way we saw Bennett for 20 minutes against Cardiff, and you knew instantly, you're like, whoa, he's taking a player on here, he's put a ball across. We've seen Traore for what, like 20, 30 times that amount of time, and I've seen not enough from him. But that's not to say he won't come good. He needs a goal so badly. It's unreal. And then I forgot Paul's put it in here. We've not even mentioned Robbo. Even more players to come back. Scott Robertson.
You struggle to see where he fits in, though.
Ahead of Norburn.
Really?
A fully fit Scott Robertson is a really, really good player, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree. I do like Robertson, but
yeah,
he had an error in him, didn't he?
Yeah. Do you not feel like he
brings that edge?
He really feels like a Patterson player.
He does, yeah, he does. Rough and ready.
Yeah, but also young, like still quite young, so he can learn. Do you know what I mean? Whereas, I don't know. I feel like he'd be my gut instinct. He'd be a good player to coach. Like I feel like he takes things on from his interviews and things. That's just there's no basis to that. So
yeah,
make what you think. With that, but yeah, another interesting thing. You alert me to this. The Dave McGoldrick interview after the win for Barnsley. Goodness me. That's aimed at Notts, isn't it?
It looks to me, doesn't it? I don't think he's going to be wanting to upset the Notts fans or anything like that. But I suppose from his perspective, you're going to take it personally, aren't you? If you're told that we think you're worth this much. He's done very well. He's getting towards 40 now, isn't he? And history will tell you time after time that players start to break down in that time. We sort of saw it, I suppose, a little bit at times when he got injured last season. But also saying that he was one of those players that his energy in game was ridiculous, wasn't it?
Yeah.
For the full 90 sometimes. So you can see why he'd have a bit of taste left in his mouth about that. But at the same time, you can also see why the owners would have probably favoured lowering his wages to allow cover for when he more than likely will be injured because of his age. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think you can be too downbeat on that. But yeah, I mean, I thought he might say something like that, to be fair.
If you don't know what he said, after they won, he played 90 minutes, scored in the 93rd minute for Barnsley and was asked about age, and he said something like some teams and people look at stats and XG and all of these things and look at laptops and computers, but just footballers just watch it with the naked eye, I think he said. You can just tell that. So yeah, very interesting. Big Meat said, what do you think we'll do about Macari if he's given a ban? My answer is I actually have no idea what we'll do. I don't know where you stand as a club, really. I mean, we're a sustainable club, aren't we? We're not just going to let players sit around and collect a wage. That's the reality of it, the harsh reality. So I don't know. Also, going back to, we spoke about it literally like 5 minutes ago, but the Curtis Edwards scenario, right? I doubt he's going to play much at all. I mean, even being brought on at wing back against Newport was ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
But that extra year would have meant we would have kept, and people might be like, "Oh, I don't need him." I think I would have much rather had Sam Austin in the squad for another year than Curtis Edwards. Sam Austin is a good player, a good squad player, and you know what?
I think you could make. Sorry,
I'm just going to say you've got a manager in that wants us to be like front-footed and press. Sam Austin. Sam Austin
was class at times last season. You know, when he was again. I think he got injured after a stint at sort of playing right wing back, didn't he? Do you remember how good he was?
He scored it. He scored the winner away.
He's unreal.
I think people.
I can't believe it when we released him. You know, I thought he was such a good player.
I agree. And people say he's not good enough. Yeah, but he is good enough to be a squad player. 1,000,000%. Maybe not starting every week, but 100%. You want to hold on to a lead, you know, we'll put some more energy on the pitch. He's your player that's going to give you that. Venom says Sam Austin was a great player in the team, definitely League Two player. Yeah, I think, you know, just it's a real shame. I didn't think they'll release him. Adam says Austin loved him, scored at the weekend. Yeah, he did. Scored at the weekend. Do you lads reckon Kuyal could be loaned out? I've liked him every time I've seen him.
I have. I don't. I want to see more of him. I think he's impressed every time he's been playing for Notts. You know.
I don't want this whole episode to be negatives. Like, I do want to just brush on a few things. Jaden Luca really stood out the last couple of games, especially in the last when he was moved away from the striker position in the last like 20-30 minutes against Wigan. Scored against Salford. Earl Pender looks a really, really good player. Really good. Once he's really fully settled. I think Bennett's is looking okay. He's looking decent. Can take a player on. And I said it in my video after the Wigan game. If you can take League One players on comfortably, you can do it. Julie says Kuyal looked good at Wigan. So there are positives. You like Dennis, don't you? Just tell me a bit about
Dennis. I think Dennis is so good. I put a tweet up and I think it divided people a little bit. I know he's a striker and people are expecting him to like not knock in goals all the time, but when you actually watch him play, he offers so much. I think, you know, if he was playing with another striker, that other striker would have the easiest career ever. Honestly, the things that he can make happen in the final third and his touch, just his strength, his hold up, it's criminal that he doesn't have a striker next to him to sort of play off.
Do you think? But I don't think when Jatta's back, I don't think they'll play two.
I think you're right, which I think is an absolute shame. An absolute shame.
We've recruited too many players in the 10 position. You know, we've got Jody and Grant that he wants to play there. You've signed Luca. You've signed Tyrese Hall. There's 4 straight away. He had originally played Jarvis there. Then you're forgetting about Traore. I actually don't think we're going to sign a striker, you know, because Traore will be that player, I think, because they're not going to lose on that, write the money off. Paul says, what do you think of Gordon? Seeing improvements, genuinely. Not massive improvements, but I'm seeing improvements.
Yeah, no, I think he's done okay this season. He's definitely, he's improved. You're right. He's done well this season. I've enjoyed watching him play, to be honest with you. It looks like he's worked on a few things that we sort of talked about last season that we felt like he was maybe lacking a little bit. So yeah, can't really criticise him too much.
Yeah, right. Let's go to the poll question then, George. If you give us the results for that, a few people got our player out and of log standing. It was Dan Gosling, who I think played 8 games for us. Wasn't particularly fantastic. Didn't pull up any trees, but well done to people that got that. I don't know how many we've actually had that people haven't been able to get. So well done. People got that very early again. So just run us through the question again, George.
Yeah, the poll is dream scenario to beat your rivals. 5-0 thumping, last minute winner. 2-0 down and end up winning 3-2, or shocking own goal from their player.
What did you vote?
Now you go first, mate. You're passionate about this one.
Actually, tell us the result first, and then I'll
all right. 44% of the vote was a 5-0 thumping. 32% of the vote was a last-minute winner. 22% of the vote was 2-0 down, end up winning 3-2, and 2% is a shocking own goal from their player. 117 votes.
What do you think I voted?
I think you voted last minute winner.
I think you voted 5-0 thumping.
No.
I voted for 2-0 down and win 3-2.
Oh, nice. I voted last minute winner.
Did you?
Yeah. Because it just reminds me of Chesterfield in the playoffs.
Yeah, that was insane. But also, didn't we come from behind in that game?
I think we did, yeah. So we
I
both
just
won.
think what I love it, like playing someone like a rival and them going 2-0 up, and they think everything's fantastic, and they end up losing the game. For me, especially if it's away, when that third goal goes in. You know what I love about football? It doesn't happen very often. You know, if you're behind and you get a goal and you instantly go back on the attack.
Yeah.
Like everyone is like just willing that ball to go into the box. But yeah, technically both the same answer. Yeah, but you could be 2-0 up. You could be 2-0 down and then score 3 in the second half, like 50, 55 and 70. Not a last minute winner. But yeah, I've gone for that. So we've come up with our team, haven't we, for Barrow? We've discussed it. I've won a few battles. George won a few battles with this. But we've gone for our joint team. So here it is to start against Barrow. Gone for Roos in goal. Obviously has to be done. We've gone for McDonald, haven't we? In for a Joffrey. And mainly because I think he played well against Wigan. And let's not lie. We limited Wigan to not very much at all for a League One side. I mean, they had to beat us with a penalty. But it feels like a McDonald against Barrow feels sensible, doesn't it? It just feels a bit sensible. The wing backs, I won out on this one, didn't I, George? I think we put Gordon on the right and Bennett stays, and then I think we have Cotter as a sub. I don't think he does enough. What are your thoughts, George? I think he's great for like 50%.
Yeah, he's a funny one, isn't he? Because he literally has moments where he plays unreal. Do you know what I mean? Like where his level is just, it looks like a level above. But then he also has moments where he just fails to do the simple things. There's a few Barnsley fans that actually said that when we signed him, that he'll have moments where he's like Cafu, and then moments where it's like he's won a competition to play. Be interesting to see how he does across the season for sure. Yeah,
and then Palmer and Pender in the middle. I wouldn't change that, not right now. Jones is going to stay there. Luca has to start, doesn't he, George? Got a goal against Salford and played well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And then Dennis up top.
Mm-hmm.
But a few people said McDonald on the right. Yeah, you can't take Bedo off the left. I don't think. And I know a lot of people think McDonald's best as a left centre back, but you're never going to get him in there ahead of Bedo ever. So he has to fit in somewhere. I don't think a Joffrey's been that bad, but I just think in this Barrow game, that's the side we're going to go for. And then off the bench, you can see the options there of who could come on. Wouldn't be surprised to see Norburn, Hall. We need to see more of Cotter. So there's our side. Let us know. Let us know what you think of the new feature as well. Showing you our team selection that way. Let us know what you think. Right, George. Score prediction. You're going to go first on this one because you let me go first on the poll question.
I'm unfortunately going to go for a draw. I'm going for a 1-1.
What do you think? Let's say it's played in the same manner as the Newport game. What does a draw do with the fan base?
Not wonders. Definitely doesn't do wonders. They'll be under immense pressure to make the next game a win. But we've got a tough run of games, coming up.
Yeah, we have. The two home games are huge. And we've got Shrewsbury coming up in the week on the Wednesday, and then Barrow on the Saturday. I actually feel like, I know sometimes we preview the midweek game, but I feel like this game's so big we just need to focus on the Barrow game. And exactly what Patterson, if I said to Patterson, no, mate, I've previewed the Shrewsbury game as well, he'd go mad at me, I think. we do need a win. It's very. I would love to know what percentage of games you've not predicted a win. Must be
not
very.
many.
It's not many.
I'd reckon it's less than 5.
5% or 5 games.
5 games. So it's probably like 1%.
Yeah.
Probably less than 1%.
Oh, we've done 168 shows.
Yeah, we did them before that as well.
Yeah, maybe 150 of
Before
them.
that.
150 have been, yeah. I'm going to say 1-1 as well.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be great. I think even if we were 1-0 down and scored a late equaliser, we need to get the win. Because then you get 2 games at Meadow Lane, which are and Shrewsbury will be hard to break down. Did you give me your goal scorer?
I didn't, but I'm going to say Dennis gets off the mark.
It sounds like I'm just copying, but I'm going to say Dennis gets off the mark.
Sounds like copying me.
I'm not, but Dennis to score 1-1. I think it's going to be tough. It's going to be awful. I hate the start of the Ronin games that they haven't scored or had a shot on target in the league because you know what's coming, don't you? You literally know what's going to happen. You not a shot on target. Step forward, Notts County. Step forward. Love the new feature, lads. Can you do it with a Sabutio set? George actually has a Sabutio set. It's not set up at the minute though, but you know.
How do you know?
Because you messaged me before the show saying don't tell anyone about my Sabutio set that's not set up yet.
Yeah, you got me there, to be fair.
I accidentally told everyone.
Yeah, you got me.
Oh dear. Good numbers again this evening. Please do subscribe if you're not already. I'm heading to Barrow, so there'll be a match day vlog. Finally get Jordan off those vlogs. Goodness me. I'm sorry everyone's had to sit through that. And if you're watching Jordan, you've done really well actually, to be fair. So, but there we go. I'll be on the match day vlog. We'll have a reaction up as well again. Remember, we've got 2 videos this season for most games. Match reaction instantly after the game and then a vlog a little bit later. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know your team selection. If you enjoyed the new feature we've got at the end, don't be unkind to Jordan. We're not. We love Jordan. But yeah, safe travels anyone going to Barrow. Leave that like and yeah, subscribe to the channel.